Hello everyone, Adam Monk here again from FourFourTwo, back with another Friday show. And just before we start, I'd like to say I actually was right for the very first time last Friday. Well, sort of. I mean, I did say that Arsenal were defending a narrow 4-4-2, which they did, and they nullified De Bruyne and Foden in the 8th position, so I was right on that. But then they kind of protested against everything that was pure about football and the want to score goals and attack a penalty area, so I was wrong on that part because they just didn't even try to score a goal. And no, I'm not bitter. Anyway, this week it is Manchester United. How do you even analyse Man United anymore? I mean, listen, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, then the next week they're good, then the next week they're bad, and then the next week they're good, and then the next week they're bad, and then they're really good, and then the next week they're really, really bad. It's just... I can't do it anymore.
You can! You can do it! You can! You can!
They did, though, have one of their really good games against Liverpool at Old Trafford recently where they won 4-3, so you can expect Man United to at least attempt to play out the game in similar fashion, or at least have some attacking impetus and replicate certain patterns that they did in that game to beat Liverpool. So it begs the question, what do Liverpool need to change to win the game? Because they've not won at Old Trafford in 10 years, and they currently are, as it stands, the favourites to win the Premier League, and they are top, so it's a game that they need to win. So, yeah, how do they go about it? Well, a nice place to start would be the stats from the 4-3 game recently. This is what is known as insanity, and you will remember from watching the game that it was insanity. This game for Liverpool was a smouldering fire, and what Liverpool effectively are going to have to do is bring in the fire brigade to put a lot of water on that fire and stop it, and just calm everything down, because that game, it will not repeat itself again, but it cannot, first and foremost. This was the 11 that played in that game though, and given the availability since, it's only really Trent who's made a return to training. Therefore, the squad is pretty much going to play out the same as it did in this game. Maybe Connor Bradley will start, maybe Harvey Elliott, but for the most part, it's going to be a pretty similar 11 for Liverpool. So to stop the freneticism of that game, it's going to have to be individual discipline drilled into these players this time round. So point A, and a very simple point A, do not give the ball away stupidly like this, or like this. It's rule number one of football really, even when you learn it as a kid. It's not greatly tactical, but keep things simple, because in a game of this high stakes and this high quality, it's going to cost you. So yeah, rule number one, don't be stupid and don't give the ball away stupidly. Klopp teams usually aren't, they're usually very, very good, and I think we can just put that 4-3 game down to the magic of the FA Cup, TM. So, who do Liverpool need to look to nullify in this game to have a better chance of winning it? Well, Manchester United's not main man at the moment, but best performing player certainly, is a man that I made a video on a couple of weeks ago, and for good reason, because of how good he is, and that is Kobbie Mainoo. Now, you'll remember that in this game, Kobbie Mainoo had an absolute field day at breaking the lines of defence. And I don't even necessarily mean that in a transitional passing sense, I literally just mean his ball carrying. He was taking 2-3 players head on at times, driving into the box and setting up teammates for chances that they probably should have put away. So yeah, it's given Ten Hag another weapon and a little bit more tactical flexibility. So how do Liverpool nullify Mainoo? Because he really was the main source of goal threat, particularly in the full 90 minutes in that FA Cup game the other week. Extra time was obviously bedlam, we'll forget about that. I really think Liverpool could actually just benefit from sticking someone on Kobbie Mainoo. Very Ander Herrera following Eden Hazard-esque, if you remember that video from a few years ago. But yeah, maybe pinning someone like Wataru Endo or Alexis McAllister onto him, because, you know, in that game in the FA Cup, he was really the main source of what was scaring Liverpool, either whether he was driving with it, or as we know in other games that we've seen from Manchester United, he's a great outlet to play the outballs to the likes of Rashford and Garnacho in transition. Now, United themselves will likely sit off Liverpool, which is what they did in the 4-3. So when Liverpool have got the ball in their back line, they won't actually press Liverpool or try and put them under much pressure. They'll give them time on the ball. Now, reason number one that they did this was to actually, and ironically, kill the intensity of the game, because when you have an intense game against Liverpool, they usually thrive on that and kill you off. So the initial plan from Ten Hag was just to take the sting out of Liverpool. And what United would do is they would trigger their press only when Liverpool's defensive players had limited options to pass to. So they'd sit off and try and cut the passing lanes to Liverpool's central midfielders. And then when Liverpool wanted to force, well, not force the ball, but go backwards to the goalkeeper, United would then trigger their press, kind of forcing them to go long. Now, the way I feel Liverpool could counter this, because we can assume United will try and do the same thing, is to A, pack that midfield either by inverting Joe Gomez or perhaps Connor Bradley, who might not be as adept at it. Joe Gomez has, of course, played 6 in certain games this season. So on the ball, pull him into the midfield to create a kind of box with him, Endo, McAllister and Szoboszlai. And then once they've done that, and I might get laughed at here, but I actually think then the best course of action might be to force it once they've got the ball in the middle of the park, because they were having to go long from the goalkeeper at Old Trafford an awful lot. So once they got the ball in the middle of the park, force it then and take a leaf out of Brentford's book. Now this isn't totally insane, hear me out. Of the 55,000 chances that Brentford created the other week, there was a lot of them that were tailor-made to Liverpool's front three and creative players. If Liverpool can create their box midfield and advance into the middle of the park and keep the ball like in this screenshot here, then it might be worth advancing someone like Szoboszlai into the number 10 position behind United's defensive midfielders to pick it up in these pockets of space. Then you've got 3 incredible runners in Luis Diaz, Mo Salah and Darwin Núñez who can all be fed in behind, but not even necessarily fed. Play balls like what I'm going to show you now that will cause jeopardy. United hate jeopardy, I cannot stress this enough. You look at this chance here, it's not even a chance, it's a ball fed into the box. There's 3 bodies around Vissa, and a bundle and a ricochet and a toe poke makes the ball find its way to the byline, and in this case Vissa could be someone like Mo Salah, who is obviously extremely quick and quick of thought as well, most importantly, to latch onto the end of these balls and cause chaos, which is obviously something we know Darwin Núñez for. But then this chance here, it's a long ball, it's a direct ball, there's nothing particularly fancy about it and Trent Alexander-Arnold hasn't had to play it. It's a ball that's been lumped in there. Now a player of Núñez's physique and stature and overall lust for chaos is a player who will thrive on balls like this. And make United centre-halves really think twice, and how did Brentford not score about 5 in this game, by the way? Well, these are the kind of balls that Liverpool should be looking to play because they effectively just invoke fear into an already disorganised Manchester United backline, an injury-stricken Manchester United backline, and one that's just been bad all year. Hello guys, I hope that wasn't too much of a jump scare, bit of a change of scenery. I'm actually in London and thought it'd be a decent segue into this section where I interview someone because United are currently 2-2 with Chelsea at half-time.
Jesus wept.
Which is expected, to say the least, because that's what United and Chelsea are like at the moment, flip-flop clubs. So we got Wayne Farry on today, who is an ex-colleague of mine and a big Manchester United fan, to try and make sense of whatever Manchester United are right now. So anyway, Wayne, take it away.
Why are United so inconsistent?
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for giving me a very easy question to begin with. I think you can divide Manchester United fans into 2 camps in terms of where the blame is attributed with regards to everything that is going on. And I say 2 camps because I think everyone agrees that, you know, the club under the Glazers has just been very much not conducive to any kind of success, whether on the boardroom level or on the pitch. I'm of the opinion that it's the manager's fault. Because, yeah, look, a lot of the players don't really perform with the level of vigor that you would hope to get from players of Manchester United Football Club, as Gary Neville would say. But at the same time, the manager brings in the players, the manager motivates the players, or in the case of Ten Hag, the manager kind of alienates the players. I think that I feel like your reference there to the Brentford game is an important one, because I feel like that game, like a lot of games over the years under Ten Hag, it feels like it encapsulated his time at United, where, like, you know, backs to the wall for long periods of time, then they nick a goal and you think, whoa, is a corner being turned here? And then before you've even had a chance to like blink,
You conceded.
bad, you know, and it's just like there's no consistency, no momentum, and a lot of money has been spent, which I think is like a very, very key thing. I think it's Ten Hag's fault. I would be happy if he were to leave. I'm not convinced that Manchester United should ever hire a Dutch manager again. I'm not going to say anything about bald people, but I'm just going to talk about Dutch managers.
Yeah.
I think the fault lies with him. Look, the players aren't perfect, but you know.
Well, that kind of leads me into my next question, because I'll give you a stat. I'll throw another stat at you, not just about the Brentford game, but United have faced over 100 shots in the last 3 games. Now, that to me is that bad that it would indicate that the players have maybe down tools already and don't even want to play for him anymore. Do you think that could be the case? Obviously, one of those games was the win at home to Liverpool, which was just chaos.
Yeah.
But that's indicative of like just a lack of effort on the pitch, which surely must stem from the bench.
Yeah, I think so. I think that like it just anytime you watch Manchester United, and I watch them too often, but you just kind of get the feeling that it doesn't look like they're being coached, or that if they are, the players are forgetting what they're being coached immediately, which is like really kind of bizarre because, you look at top class managers and you look at the instructions that they give to their players. And I'm talking about Arteta and Pep particularly.
Yeah.
You can see that even Arteta's early stages where it wasn't really, coming together fully, you could see what he was going for, and I don't think you can really see what Ten Hag is going for. Like, yes, early in games, the intensity can be pretty good, but they flag so quickly. They flag so quickly in every single game. And you also have to look at like the injury issues as well. I think that's another kind of question that needs to be asked is like, why are so many players getting injured so frequently? And why are players being rushed back from injury? It does feel like a lot of the time, like, yeah, that the players, I mean, I wouldn't say they're playing for him in any particular way whatsoever. Yeah. I think a lot of them are playing for themselves. Like the bright part of the season has been Kobbie Mainoo and Garnacho, and I think regardless of who the manager is, it'd be very, very concerning if those two players weren't highly motivated. I think the fact that they're the two bright spots in the season is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but also slightly concerning as well.
What do you expect from Liverpool in this game, and do you think United can go on and win it?
I don't think United are going to win it. I think that United were pretty lucky to win against Liverpool. I know that like Rashford.
I'll boost your confidence though. Liverpool have won once at Old Trafford in the last decade. That was 5-0, but they've only won once there.
Yeah, I don't really put an enormous amount of credence in history, to be honest. I see your point for sure. I think that those sort of historical stats probably have a lot more weight when it's, for example, when was the last time Luton Town won at Old Trafford? I think that's the sort of thing that really kind of, like much of that record is down to Alex Ferguson and how well he did. And obviously then there was that period too after him where United kind of still inexplicably had a pretty good record against Liverpool, because that's the thing I think, and it really does feed into this, is that United have a habit of sometimes turning it on massively at Old Trafford for the big games. And even when you're watching them, and that game on St. Patrick's Day against Liverpool in the FA Cup, you felt like they were summoning something from somewhere else. This didn't feel normal. This didn't feel like I absolutely believe that the players on the pitch have the ability to do what they did, for sure. But the fact that it requires a game of really of chaos where the kind of where each team abandons their philosophy. Yeah. The fact that that's the environment in which United can succeed, rather than, let's say, a controlled environment where they're enacting their own tactics and Liverpool are doing the same. I think if you break that game down into both teams playing exactly how they plan to play or how they can play, then I think Liverpool are always going to be the team that comes out on top in that situation. And yeah, they haven't won a lot of matches at Old Trafford, but at the same time, they're really...
There's added emphasis right now, isn't there? Given where they are in the table. And
you just can't... They're really, really good. They are really good. And I think you look at the stats there, they've 13 fewer goals conceded than United, 27 goals more scored. The fact that we are 9 games away from the end of Manchester United's season and they have a goal difference of 0, I find very, very galling. And I just think that it's interesting that, I'm not saying people are sleeping on Liverpool in any way whatsoever, but I think there is probably a focus more on Arteta and Pep. Arsenal obviously having come so close to winning the league last season. I think there's probably a bit more focus on Arsenal and City, and maybe a little less pressure on Liverpool externally, even though I would imagine there's an enormous amount of pressure internally, given that it's Klopp's final season. But I just think that Liverpool are very, very complete at the moment. I think that they'll learn the lessons of what happened at Old Trafford in terms of you don't want to meet United in a dogfight. You have to be meticulous, and you have to be very disciplined, really, when playing against United, because United will try and break down what you do and will try, because the thing is that like United just aren't good enough to play people at their own game, so they have to kind of drag the level down a little bit. I don't see Liverpool falling for that again, and I can see like even Ahmad's goal at the end of that match, like that was due to hesitation from Liverpool players after their own goal. Like that isn't happening again. I don't see that happening again. Predictions are a difficult one, particularly score predictions. But let's just say
I'm going to ask you. You can't get away with it.
I'm not going to say it right now, but let's just say I don't expect to feel happy come the end of this match.
Yeah. Well, neither do I, because I'm a City fan, obviously, but I need United to win. And it's a weird position to be in. So, yeah. Well, there we go. I mean, Liverpool United, Wayne, I can only leave you with a score prediction.
Okay. My score prediction is Manchester United 1, Liverpool 3. And I'm going to guess that... Is Højlund back? He's back, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. He did an interview with Sky this week, which would suggest he's back. So
yeah. So I think Højlund's going to score, and I think we're going to see 3 goals shared between Darwin Núñez and Mohamed Salah, and it's going to be... I think it's going to be a bit of a drubbing, but I hope I'm wrong.
All right. Well, I guess in a way it's actually a win-win for me this weekend. I'll be laughing either way as a City. So, yeah, there we go. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Wayne. Really appreciate that. Cheers.
Cheers. Take care.
Anyway, guys, yes, Liverpool, Manchester United. I just want another 4-3, to be honest. Don't forget to subscribe, though, guys. I've been Adam Monk. Take care. I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.